Our opening words this morning come from Quinn G. Caldwell. This is "Every Moment is One." One of my favorite things about all the rituals and traditions attached to this time of year is the way they mess with time, he writes. My husband and son and I decorate our Christmas tree, and as we hang each moment, the ones we brought from our parents' houses and the ones we got together, we tell their stories. As we do, we find we are not just standing in the living room we share, but we are also standing in footed pajamas in the living rooms we grew up in, decorating every tree we've ever decorated right in that moment. We gather on Christmas Eve with the lights down and the candles lit, and we sing Silent Night. And as we do, it's like we're singing at every Christmas Eve service we've ever been to. It's like we're singing at every Christmas Eve service yet to come. It's like by our song, we're calling the birth of God into existence again. It's not nostalgia. It's not a hazy remembrance of the time back when things used to be better than they are now. It's more than that. It's like a collapsing of time, a drawing in of past and future into one long now. Theologians would say we're moving out of ordinary time, or out of what they call chronos, and catching a glimpse of God's time, or what they call kairos. In chronos, minute follows minute, and you can only go forward. That's where we live most of the time. But for God, in kairos, every moment is one. And your first Christmas, and your last Christmas, this Christmas, and the redemption of the whole world are all happening right now, forever. It's one of the reasons people love this time of year so much, that quality it has that, for many people more than other times of the year, lets us glimpse the world the way God sees it. So what things or traditions do that for you? What brings you back to your childhood at warp speed? Whatever it is, you should plan to do it soon. Our second reading is Emmanuel by Sarah Mobius Shore, and this is adapted. Emmanuel means God is with us. Who is your Emmanuel? Who is your God is with us? The one you were promised, the one you have been waiting for. For the ancient prophet Isaiah, he was a boy soon to be born who would guide the people of Judah back to peace and harmony with God. He would bring hope for victory and greatness to the tribe. He would be a gift from God to their chosen people. Who is your Emmanuel? Your God is with us. For Christians, he was Jesus of Nazareth, the baby in the Christmas story who grew up to be a remarkable teacher among the Jewish people, whose ideas about love, forgiveness, and justice changed the world forever. Who is your Emmanuel? Your God is with us. Perhaps your Emmanuel is a political leader standing for the rights of the oppressed, a Martin Luther King, a Gandhi, a Mother Jones. Perhaps in their work with people, you feel God is with us. Who is your Emmanuel? Your God is with us. Perhaps your Emmanuel is an artist, bringing transcendence to the human spirit and lifting our hopes and dreams into the night. A J.S. Bach, a Martha Graham, a William Shakespeare. Perhaps in the presence of great beauty and creativity, you feel God is with us. Who is your Emmanuel? Your God is with us. Perhaps it is a child or the next person you meet, created from our bodies, a child who is filled with the potential to do every great thing, or the person who is committed to doing the next right thing. Your promise from God that the world has hope for justice and beauty. For in the presence of each other, we too can feel God is with us all. Our third reading is The Invitation by Teresa Schwartz. We know the story. An angel of the Lord appeared to the shepherds. The glory of the Lord shone around them. A great light descends on dark fields. Happy angels and cherubim sing for joy, play their lutes, and dance about to defy the gravity of earthly cares. In our happy Christmas narratives, we can forget that the angels were afraid. What is this fear of God? In my Sunday school lessons, God was a warm, fuzzy old man, replete with gray beard. Jesus loved me because the Bible told me so. And I glued cotton balls on stiff cardboard construction paper to make sheep for the Good Shepherd. As a small child, I secretly opened the Bible and I read. It didn't take long to find God and fear mingled together in the same lines. I didn't understand, but I knew it wasn't about fluffy lambs and grandfatherly gods. In the Hebrew scriptures, the fear of God is an act of obedience to the divine will. But I think it's also a shaking of body and soul, awe at something wholly other. Something catches, my heartbeat quickens, and I shake even a little at the thought of those strange glimpses that brought me to my knees. The numinous is a mystery that terrifies and fascinates. We are tempted to reduce the whole of the Christmas story to a kinder, gentler God, somewhat akin to the jolly and portly fellow in the red suit. We wrap our seasonal theology neatly with a red bow. But what we have here are terrifying and fascinating dreams and apparitions, enough to make you lay down your work and follow your vision. That's what the shepherds did. They ran from that place in search of the strange, the holy. What star are we waiting for to lay down our labors and follow our vision? A strange vision, a frightening glory, peculiar and unfamiliar fancies that we would risk losing the labors of our day to a brilliant, crazed moment in the night. Could we hear the bizarre voices of it all? Or are we too busy tending our sheep to see the hand of God in the strange turns of our lives? The shepherds ran, leaving their sheep, and the one they ran to would tell the fishermen to lay down their nets, leave their fish, run to be fishers of men and women and dreams. For a moment, follow the dream, the hope despite your shaking. Receive the annual invitation. Face the awesome vision. Lay down your labors. Abandon all reason. For now, once again, God is with us and we can risk our daytime sensibilities for strange dreams and fearful fascinations. Run across the cold, muddy fields. Before the reflection, another reading. You Have to Know Your Body as the Home of God by Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker. You have to know your body as the home of God, and this is the purpose of Christmas. The rose blossoming in the wilderness is the unfolding of your pleasure as the fingers peel an orange and sweetness buds in the mouth. The bright star in the night sky is the sudden clarity of your instinct for joy. The birth cry in the night is your child falling into the dark and your arms holding her. The terror of Herod's murderous intent is your rage that would prefer death to change. The singing angel is your voice at church, not sure of the tune, but certain for a moment that there is glory. The animals breathing their warm breath in the fragile stable are your emotions, kneeling into the body of earth, at ease in the presence of God. Mary is you, God in your body. Joseph is you, sheltering God in the world. This is the key to the mystery. The Word become flesh. We are the dwelling place. Each year for hundreds of years, people have been gathering on this day to celebrate the birth of a child. We know how the story goes. A couple, a man and a young woman, are traveling together on a long journey to pay their taxes. Oh, if we should take such a journey. She is pregnant, though the child is not his, which raises more than a few eyebrows, including his. They arrive in a city and there are no rooms available. Finally, they are offered a safe place among the farm animals, and the baby is born. A baby whose life and death changes the world and many of the hearts within it. As children, some of us may have played the part of one of these characters. And still, each year we gather. We gather to remind ourselves of the story, of the possibility, of the good, of the promise of each life and each day, even when our experiences in the world or reading the headlines can make it hard for us to see. We gather with friends or family, sing the songs and tell the stories, and we tell our stories. We laugh and maybe cry, and we eat and sing and open presents and give thanks. At least I hope we all find some way to do that sometime in these few days. What I find wondrous every year during the holidays is that we continue to gather. In these days, as interest in religion and churches is waning more than any time in our lived experiences, we gather. We want to know and remember and celebrate, and we want to do it together in a community of people we love or hope to love. And so many across this country and the world are doing the very same thing this day, even if we do it a little differently. And as I have aged every year, I wait until Christmas night to fully exhale, believing that the miracle that we've been waiting for has finally been brought into the world, waiting, sleeping quietly to be nurtured into all of its possibility. Perhaps I have been at the bedside of enough people who have lost their children, even when they have been perfectly healthy, before their births or after a challenging one, to feel like it's not safe to let go too soon. I know the promise and I know how the story ends, but each year I wait until I can be sure. In this time when all of us with uteruses have less autonomy over our bodies than we've had in the last 50 years, when the average person pays more in taxes than the average millionaire or our president-elect, when we turn away our neighbors, refugees, fleeing for their lives, often from situations American consumers have created or worsened. When politics have become so divisive that they're tearing apart families and communities. When our healthcare system is so focused on turning enormous profits instead of caring for people. When we witness daily how the climate crisis is worsening, when war between the state of Israel and Hamas and Palestinians is devastating communities and murdering people without any regard for the miracles of their beings, right in the place where a prophet was born 2,000 years ago. We gather to remember the story, this story, when a family makes a long trek to pay their own taxes, when a woman is not believed about her own body nor cared for in her pregnancy or delivery, when people in need of a safe place to sleep are denied compassion, when people are fighting because of identity or faith or land claims or the one in power said so or whatever else, when something evil seems to be on the horizon like it was then, we gather to remember that a miracle happened once, which means that it might yet happen again. We gather to remember that in the most unlikely of places, at the most unlikely of times, in the most unlikely of ways, but also in ways that are all too common, a miracle unfolded in the mystery. For us now, time stops just as it did as the baby was being born for his parents. And in that time, we remember. We gather because although it has been 2,000 years, it's not always clear that we've made that much progress. We can recast that story today, and I'm not even sure it would make the news. The birth of this child and his life reminds us that there is so much yet to do, that we haven't accepted the invitation to become fishers of dreams or to choose a different way, or to shelter God in the world, or to know that every birth is a miracle just as much as each person is a miracle. The miracle doesn't stop because we get older, even if we forget that it's true. That we are the miracle, that we can bring peace, that we contain so many possibilities for goodness, that we are someone's hope against all hope. Each day is a new day. Each day there are new births. May we remember these blessings and do the next right, best, true thing as often as we can. We are the dwelling place.